All right, the news is out. The news is $1 billion Spotify Joe Rogan Experience situation. It's official. The announcement was made a few days ago, but the actual numbers came out today, and I wanted to discuss it a bit. I wanted to talk about what it means for all of us as creators, and then I wanted to get into some practical application steps that we can take in the midst of this. But before we go anywhere, I'm gonna drop that intro.
I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need the help. Ooh, I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need the help. Ooh, that's right. I don't need nothing else. That's right.
King's Dream Entertainment.
What's going on? It's Ruslan with KingsDreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you to live God's dream for your life. We talk about music, marketing, all kinds of different stuff. And today I really wanted to talk about this idea of the Joe Rogan podcast going to Spotify. This isn't to discuss whether or not he's a sellout or going corporate or whatever. This is to discuss what is happening in this grand scheme and what does this mean for all of us as creators. Now, there's another video done. I'll try to link it in the description below. I just watched it, and it gave the financial breakdown, and it said he got a $100 million licensing deal, 100% creative control. All of the Joe Rogan stuff is going to get brought over to Spotify. Spotify is going to create their own video platform just to host all the Joe Rogan Experience podcasts. So if you guys don't know who Joe Rogan is, I mean, you must be under a rock. #1 podcast in the world. Probably the biggest podcast on YouTube. I love his stuff, most of his stuff. And he signed a $100 million deal with Spotify. So there's another video talking about the details and actually breaking it down. I'm going to pull up the video so I cite it correctly. But breaking down how in just, it was by Valuetainment. It was by Valuetainment. That is a video. I'll link it in the description below afterwards. But the video broke down the particulars, and it said, look, this is going to raise the value for creators. Obviously, if the top of the top is going to get $100 million, that's going to create other opportunities like you see in guys like Joe Rogan going to Spotify. Joe Budden has been at Spotify. So that's obvious. Two, they were like, well, what does it mean for Spotify? Was this a wise investment for Spotify to drop $100 million one podcast? And the way he broke down the numbers was that Spotify's stock, I believe, went up 17 to 20% in one day. And so based on those numbers, he said that the value of Spotify, based on the number of shares that's out there, went up by $5 billion. Now, obviously, that wasn't liquid cash that they made like that, but the value of Spotify and their stock rose by $5 billion after this announcement of Joe Rogan in the last, I think, 24 hours. That's pretty impressive. So Spotify comes up, Joe Rogan comes up, and this is a great time to be a creator, great time to be a YouTuber, because now that we kind of have a landscape of what, you know, Joe Rogan's value is, you're going to see more and more of these exclusive Spotify deals. Again, Spotify is building an entire video interface for Joe Rogan just so they could host the Joe Rogan full episodes. I believe they're still going to keep dropping snippets on YouTube and Facebook, but everything is going to get brought over there. And so it seems like he's winning. Now, why am I talking about this? Why does this matter? Well, because we have, I don't want to say toxicity. I don't want to say it's toxic, but we have this notion in music and in, YouTube, and everybody is trying to blow up. Everybody is trying to get on as quickly as possible. They want to get popping. They want to get noticed. They want to get attention. And that can be a dangerous thing, because if you look over the long haul of Joe Rogan's life, if you look over the beginning from before he was on Fear Factor, him being a multifaceted creative, a stand-up comedian, him being a martial artist, him being a podcaster and him being a host on UFC, and those are just the things that we know about. I think he like goes hunting and is into archery and all these other kind of stuff, right? So one, he's multifaceted. A lot of the toxicity that we're having said in culture today for a lot of rappers at least is pick one thing, stay in your lane. And I believe that initially, but I feel like you got to diversify your skill set. You need to learn how to do multiple things, be interesting in multiple ways. So one, I think that's dope. Two, Joe Rogan built his notoriety and his appeal on a global scale in his 50s. He didn't do it at 19, 20 years old. And what does that mean? Well, that means that he's going to be in a way better position to steward this money that he has coming in now. They said he makes $30 million a year before this, and now the $100 million deal. And he's going to be able to deal with the fame and all the stuff that comes along with it now that he's older. So why do I bring that up? Because going back to the idea of everybody wanting to blow up, get on, blow up, and I even have some of you guys leaving content on here, comments on here on my videos. Man, you deserve more subscribers. Man, why aren't you blown up yet, right? And listen, that isn't the objective, right? The objective is to fall in love with the process of what you're doing. And eventually, if you add enough value, you help enough people, you're interesting enough, you're entertaining enough, eventually you can monetize it and make a comfortable living. Too many of us are thinking in years and not in decades. And again, you look at Joe Rogan when he was in his 20s, right? Where he was at in his 30s, 40s, and now he's in his 50s. And it works out better that way financially as well. Let me give you guys some very practical numbers. They say that the overwhelming majority of professional athletes end up going broke. I think it was like 70% a couple years ago. Now, by broke, I mean bankrupt. Now it's gotten better and better, right? They've given them financial literacy classes and helped them invest, and now less of these guys are going broke. But by and large, athletes who get the majority of their life's earning when they're in their 20s end up going broke. The overwhelming majority of lottery winners go broke. They lose it all, right? They lose it all. The overwhelming majority of rappers who get super popping in their early 20s, where they at? Where are they now, right? The old VH1 show. A lot of them go broke. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because so many of us are in a hurry and we think we got this window that's closing. We think we got this small window to get as popping as possible because we put a number in our head. By the time you're a certain age, you will be irrelevant in said art form. A lot of this is rapper thinking, right? By the time I'm 30, I want to da-da-da-da because then I'm old for a rapper, and then it's pushed out. And Jay-Z comes along, now it's 40, now it's 45, right? That number's getting pushed further and further out. We have this, and so we tend to make decisions that aren't long-term decisions. They aren't about building infrastructure, systems, consistencies, disciplines, so that we can further our careers. They're about trying to pop off really quick and make some money and monetize our audience. And so you got situations like Tekashi 6ix9ine attempting to go viral and get a lot of attention. But, you know, where is he going to be at when he's 45? He's 25 now. Where's he at when he's 45, right? And I read this verse this morning out of Proverbs, and this is irrelevant of where you are in terms of if you're a person of faith or not, but this reinstates this idea big time. Proverbs 20:21 is also on my Instagram story. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should. Boom, we're going to throw that up there. But check it out. Proverbs 20:21, it says, an inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end. Okay, I'm going to read you guys the New Living Translation because I like that version. Check this one out. An inheritance obtained too early in life is not a blessing in the end. An inheritance obtained too early in life is not a blessing in the end. You making all your money when you're in your early 20s and really taking off, and that is where your income peaks, statistically places you at a disadvantage to where you're going to be when you're older. This is, again, true for lottery winners, true for athletes, true for all that. Your ability and your capacity to handle money, to handle success, to handle fame develops as you develop maturity and skills and all these types of things. So if anything, what this Joe Rogan deal should be showing us is, guys, you have time. You have time. Be patient. Put in the work. Put in the 10,000 hours. Be consistent in your discipline. Figure out a way to make a living. Figure out a way to make a living in the meantime. And by the way, those of you guys who learn all the things we talk about on this channel. Learn to shoot your own music videos, learn to edit your own music videos, learn to record your own music, learn to produce your own music, right? These things that I keep pounding down, and I keep getting people to say, oh, I don't want to learn video, it's too hard. Oh, I don't want to learn how to mix my own music, it's just too hard. All you guys that are saying this, know that you're way more likely to make more money off of those skill sets than you are off of the current skill sets and the current jobs you have. Meaning that you may not blow up as a rapper next year, but if you develop the skills it takes to blow up as a rapper, music videos, mixing, production, you could actually monetize those skills, and those skills will take you further and make you more wealthy than the jobs and the skills that you have now, unless you have like a college degree or something like that. So that's something to really consider about. And I have a video coming out with my man, Andrew Southworth, tomorrow, going into this idea of developing skill sets that are going to empower you. So those are my thoughts, man. I think this is a great time to be a creator. I think so many of us are so impatient and want everything to happen in some weird time frame that we've created in our heads. But the truth is, legacy takes time. Careers take time. Systems, infrastructure, you're way better off spending 5 years, 10 years learning the marketplace, learning social media, learning all these things, and then really aggressively trying to monetize your art than you are to just try to, oh, I got to make money in a year. I got to make money in a year. It seldom works that way. Guys, I released my first retail project in 2004. And I'm not saying I'm hot stuff and I'm the best rapper alive. My first record came out in 2004. My retail album, For Sale, 2004. I didn't go full-time with music until 2015. Okay, and then from 2015 to 2020, I've only been full-time. I started making music 20 years ago. That's how long it took me, and it doesn't mean it's gonna take you 20 years. It just means that's how long it took me. We didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have TikTok, right? I was more resistant to MySpace initially. I was a purist. I had a lot of strikes against me as a creative, right? So embrace the technology, embrace the opportunity that's in front of us. I got the most talented community in all of the internet. Our King's Dream Patreon community, they're all live on Zoom. I'm gonna bring some of them in. If you guys throw up your hand in the little hand feature, I wanna see who wants to chime in on this. You go in the chat and I think you throw it up that way. I wanna pin some of you guys up, get some of your guys' thoughts. Those of you guys that are in the YouTube, thank you for watching this. Let me know where you're watching this from. Give this video a thumbs up if you would. And I kind of want to hear from some of you guys, just because people are all different sides of the spectrum here. But the big idea I want to keep pounding home, man, is stop trying to get rich quick. Stop trying to blow up. Stop being desperate for the sake of clout and recognition, because that can go a really, 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 really dark way. In obviously Tekashi 69 is the worst example of it all. But there's other examples, man, of guys that sign really bad deals, of guys that want to blow up really fast. They sign away their publishing. They feel like that's their only way to do it, and they're honestly either not aware of that they can make their own videos and make their own music, or they don't have the information, or they just don't want to put in the work. They just don't want to put in the work. And I'm going to empower you guys and tell you guys the truth. You got to put in the work. There's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. And that doesn't mean you can't get signed and it doesn't work the other way. It's just those chances of somebody putting you on are slimmer and slimmer and slimmer and slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. And at the end of the day, anybody that puts you on is going to have the leverage. They are going to have the ability to dictate how that deal goes. If you don't have your own infrastructure, you don't have your own following, you don't have your own you don't have your own thing in place. All right, I'm gonna bring in a homie DJ Lost and Found. I'm gonna pin you up, boss. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Make sure I make you big. All right, man. Oh, hold up. You're blue. Let me fix this real quick. You can unmute yourself when you're ready, sir.
Cool.
All right, yo, what do you think about this whole Joe Rogan thing, everything I've been talking about with patience and just the long haul, man, seeing the long vision?
Yeah, for sure. It is a long haul. Just to be of encouragement, man, I started DJing when I was 31. Been DJing for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I first started, I felt like I was too old. I mean, most DJs start when they're probably like 14, 13.
Yeah.
Back then, I was a producer back then. But for myself, I know that the Lord has taken me this route. I'm 31 or I'm 33 now, but it's never too late. Never too late to learn a new skill. It's been awesome for me, and it's opened up a lot of doors for myself, just from being a servant and DJing in this sphere that we're in the CHH. So just wanted to encourage, man. You're never too old. There's always a plan, that's way above yourself, and over is in control.
That's dope. Quick question for you, bro. Do you feel like because you started a little later that you had a different degree of work ethic and zeal and intensity because you had probably acquired those skills from working jobs and different careers, and you know what I mean? Like starting something when you're 30, there's a different urgency than when you're kind of goofing around and, I got the turntables, at 15. You know what I'm saying? So you probably grew faster in those initial 2 years than most people grow in 7 or 10 years.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of maturity, and the way that I approach everything as far as like with professionalism. Even though I might be hitting up somebody who's a friend, I try to take this from a perspective of good business. You know what I mean? So I think that sometimes people that you come in contact with, they don't seem to have business acumen. That's very apparent. But it could be also that there are those who are 18 and they have great business acumen.
Yeah.
And they have maturity.
Yeah.
That's beyond, it's really dependent upon the person. But it will take you far. I've seen it easily. It will take you far if you take things serious, if you have the right business acumen, if you have the right mindset, and also the maturity to wait for your time.
Yeah.
So
I love it, man. Thank you so much for chiming in, brother. I think the business acumen thing is great, man, because I don't know if it's just the way we think, but at like 19, 20, 21, I just wasn't thinking about business. You know what I mean? And goodness, did I dodge some bullets, guys. Had I signed with the labels I wanted to sign with when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I would just be in a mess. Probably wouldn't be full-time with music, and I've seen a lot of people fall off in that way. So I'm going to bring in my brother, Robert. Robert, you are live. What do you think, man? Unmute yourself.
Hey, I'd like to thank you on this channel because I really considered my influence on like helping people in social media and platforms and all the advice you've given. And that influence and that importance, is there any noteworthy noteworthy gems we could take from what's his name? Joe Rogan, from his influence and from his legacy? Anything noteworthy that stands out to you, that as far as his influence, as far as his career, and what do you really think he built as far as for the fans? Because I think that's where it is, where the importance is.
I feel you. Yeah, that's a good question, man. Thank you for asking that, Robert. Appreciate you being here. I think here's the thing I think that's unique about Joe Rogan. He's done multiple things across many years, and he has built different skill sets, not all at once, right? So think about, he's into fighting, he's into fitness, he's into nutrition, he's into comedy. Like, this dude tours for stand-up comedy. He hosts TV shows, he hosts UFC. So he's cross-pollinated these different interests that he has, and he didn't come out as the guy that is into all these things. He came out initially as the UFC commentator. He was doing stand-up comedy kind of on the side, and he basically, what I'm getting at is, I think what we can learn from him is he mastered one thing at a time. And this is similar to Childish Gambino, or Donald Glover, as many of us know him. He mastered one thing at a time really well. He spent a season, a year or two really, doing this, and then kind of pivot. Once this is an autopilot, then he goes over here, does this other thing. When this is an autopilot, he goes over here and does this other thing. And so I think that is probably the biggest, takeaway is, one, when you are into multiple things, you can glue them together and create a more unique brand, more cross-pollination. And then two, being okay with, listen, it's going to take multiple years to become great at multiple things, decades even. So you can't expect to be a great rapper, a great singer, a great producer, a great cinematographer, right? In a year. Like, that's gonna take you a while to master these different things, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't learn the surface, rudimentary of all these different things. And so I think that's what he's done, man. I think he's done a great job of it. I'm gonna bring in my man Anthony. He has his hand up. Give me 1 sec, boss. Yo, you are live, my G.
Hey, what's up, man? What's good? I feel like I really needed this conversation today, bro.
Nice. I'm glad.
Definitely needed, bro. I just wanted to chime in and say, like, you know, seeing you do what you do, and you have definitely been an influence to continue to master these other areas of and different bodies of work. You know, like I recently got a camera now. Like I recently started like.
Let's go.
You know, I appreciate it. But by doing that, I found like I have a love for just, you know, videos itself, and, you know, and the editing process. Like I'm falling in love with that process as well, just as much as I do like music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's good.
I think by doing that, sometimes you start unlocking these doors and these areas of where you're being creative that you didn't even know that you wanted to kind of dabble into. And you start like you said, like you start getting good at them, and you further along in the career, you might be actually using these revenues or these avenues to make your, you know, your income to really, I guess, drive what your initial dream was. And who knows, it could change lanes for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You may just fall in love with just doing videos now, you know, so.
Yeah. And there's a lot of guys that do that started out as the producer, and then they got in the video and they became way better at music videos, and then now that all they do is music videos, right?
Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine that was a producer rapper. He was in a group called Future Shock. These are my OGs. His name's Ajax, and Ajax went on to executive produce a ton of TV shows. The most one he's most famous for is Duck Dynasty, right? So this was an underground backpack producer rapper from North County, San Diego. And now he lives in Montana, and he did Duck Dynasty, and they got a bunch of stuff in the works, a bunch of projects, films, like all kinds of stuff. And he started as a rapper, you know what I mean? And so we can never be too afraid to try different things. And the truth is, most of us are just intimidated to learn something new. We're intimidated off top because it just looks like freaking algebra or geometry, just stuff we don't know. So we're intimidated off top, and then we'll start doing it, and we then tend to lack the consistency and understanding that, man, just an hour a day on video editing is gonna get you really fire in a year from now. Just an hour a day playing piano, an hour a day rapping, an hour, like deliberate focus over time makes you pretty proficient at different things. And again, we combine all these skills, and then you realize that, man, I could actually monetize these skills. Like if I wanted to, I could go in and be an A&R marketing guy at a label right now, or I could just do it freelance if I really wanted to, and I would probably make amazing money at it, right? And so I think that's the tough part, is that we see things very linear as artists. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get here, and then I'm gonna make it, and then I'm gonna get signed, and then I'm gonna make $1 million. And it's just like, life seldom works out like that. You know what I mean? Life seldom works out like that. So thank you for sharing that, man. I really appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna pin up my man JJL. JJ, I need your whole face in a frame, bro. You always doing a forehead thing. That's how Foggy Raw looked when he called me on FaceTime. No, we need the whole quarantine look. What's up, bro? What do you think about this whole thing?
I love it. I think that not only did I need to hear that, but a lot of people needed to hear it. But one big question I have for you is, I see a lot of cats, including myself, have in the past put themselves in a position where they're like, if I don't make it by, say, 25 or something like that,
yeah,
I gotta drop this and I gotta do something else. But other people's situation might be, you know, I'm getting close to graduating, and then I got this job lined up, and this, yet, and third. But you can see that their career with music is going well, and if they just took more time to do it and not gave themselves that deadline, that they could actually make something happen with it, even if it took them a little bit longer than they expected. What would you tell the, say, 22-year-old on the verge of graduating with that job lined up about that decision that they want to make?
Whoo! That's tough, man, because here's the deal. Okay, so my philosophy, and I did this in college, is like I was gonna major in, like, I don't know, sociology or something, right? And I was just like, man, at some point you gotta man up. And if you say you're gonna be an artist, like your major in music should reflect that, or at least marketing. Like if you're gonna be an artist, entrepreneur, at least marketing or at least business, right? So I changed my major in college because I was like, I'm incongruent. Like I'm incongruent. I say I want to do this, but my major isn't really looking. I'm in these goofy classes that got nothing to do with what I really want to do with the rest of my life. And so, so I think it should have some loose relation to what you want to do. Paul Russell is a great example. Thank you, Zach, for reminding me. First of all, Paul Russell is a very special individual. I mean, like, people don't understand how special Paul is. Paul's parents are incredible. He comes from a great home, great parents that love Jesus and love the Lord and empowered him. And he has a great older sister that's very creative. And she's also a very talented poet, spoken word poet that was doing spoken word poetry, traveling full time. So Paul has this really unique thing where he went to school and he got like a degree from Cornell, an Ivy League school, in like international business affairs, right? And on a surface, it's like, what does that have to do with anything? But then the job he pursued was a job. First, he had a job at Vans, which is how he got out to Cali the first time. And now the job he has is like, I think he works at a venture capitalist firm where they're always looking at new startups. So it is a segue to ultimately his business career, right? And he did both, and he graduated in 4 years, and he's crushing it. And so it gives him the opportunity to not be in as much of a hurry and really take his time with the way he wants his art and everything to look. Whereas somebody that doesn't have that might be in more of a frenzy. They might be more of a, I gotta go, 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 I gotta make it, I gotta go, I gotta make it, right? And all along, what they really should have been doing is having talents that can directly help them make it, right? The talents that can help them do video so that they can shoot their own videos, so that they can shoot videos for other people, make money off of video instead of having to work a job for $15 an hour, right? That's probably what they should have been doing. So I think it takes a special kind of individual to say, I'm gonna go to 4 years, college, knock that thing out, go into a career, crush it in the career, and do music on the side and do it right. There's only so much time. Like, there's only so much time. And or be okay with saying, okay, well, Paul has me in his corner, right? So he's not self-sustaining, independent. He's doing it all himself. He doesn't have to. I mix the records. I co-produce the records. I do his video editing. I help Paul out with a lot of stuff. So that's another thing. Is like, okay, cool. If you want to go into a career, dope, do that. But be aware enough to know, okay, well, now I'm not going to be able to do the stuff I really want to do with all my disposable time because I'm responsible for this whole other thing. So it's a complicated situation, man. And there's people here that are going to college and trying to figure out life. And I don't want to speak too much. I've seen it both ways. For me, I had to do music. That had to be my major. I had to be zeroed in. For other people like Paul, who is just a freak. Like, Paul's just a freak, man. There's no other way to say it. He's a freak at anything he does. He's one of those guys that's just like is good at everything, right? Like Nick D, another one of those guys. He's just good at everything. Nick D is just like, oh, he built a 6-figure cinematography wedding business and he raps well, right? So there's just guys that could do that. But all along, if you watch carefully, they are talent stacking, and Nick D takes his cinematography from weddings and he transitions that over into his own music video, his own branding, his own aesthetic, right? So you could do both, but it requires a very special type of personality, and I don't have that, and I don't want to, give people advice on something that like I'm like, hey, I'm not that guy, but some people are, you know what I mean? And maybe they could pull it off. I wasn't able to. And if I can go back, I probably would have spent way more time learning video earlier. Like, I probably would have been trying to figure out film and music in college, because I could have segued and got a pretty fire freelance position like my buddy Sam did, who was doing weddings and then pivoted to doing video and then like crushed it. And now he built his own thing with, food photography and video, you know what I'm saying? And he was able to pick what his niche was, but all along he was living comfortably because he was helping other people make their art, and it's that quote, like we've heard that quote before. The quote is, the people who made the most amount of money during the gold rush wasn't the people that were rushing to California for gold, it was the people that were selling picks and shovels to everybody else. Right, so the people that are selling picks and shovels are at an advantage because that everybody wants to go. Everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be a personal brand. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber, but they either don't have the time, the capacity, the skill set, the tenacity to learn video editing, photography. They don't have, so they might have the bread. So they'll pay somebody the bread to do it for them because they don't want to do it themselves. And that's where someone can step in. Like a kid like Bats, I see you Bats in here. Like a kid like Bats could step in and in a year from now or 2 years from now, potentially be running multiple personal brands for people that are trying to get popping on TikTok and trying to dabble in Instagram and right. He could try and make like 6 figures doing that. You know what I mean? And it's because he's understood how to hack that away for himself, that he could do it for other people. And maybe music takes a little longer, but he can have a comfortable living, buy a home, do all these things by the time he's 23, 24, 25, instead of saying, oh, I'm just gonna, you know what I mean, do music and not do anything else. It seldom works out that way. So that's a great question, man. Yeah, man, I think this is a very interesting discussion. I don't know how much of this conversation you stayed for. I would just say, all in all, guys, don't be afraid to learn something new. Don't be afraid to talent stack. Keep perspective that, man, life is long. We all got time and we all got patience. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, all that kind of stuff. Leave a comment. Appreciate you guys being here. If you guys want to partner with what we're doing on the channel, all you guys that say, oh, you should have more subscribers, and oh, aren't you blown up yet? You know what you can do to help me blow up? You can go sign up for Patreon, contribute to the channel. We're going to make this thing happen. But yo, I appreciate everybody being